The 106 hostages, 102 were rescued and 4 were killed. Also that day, the unit commander, Lieutenant Colonel Yonatan Netanyahu, died. Yonatan Netanyahu's younger brother, Iddo, who's the author of Yoni's Last Battle, The Rescue at Entebbe, and their other brother is Binyamin Neyanyahu, of course. We can speak to Iddo now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Tell us about this operation then. Is it considered a success, an example yet again of the Israeli services being able to pull off something quite incredible?
Well, it's considered one of the, I would say, most daring and successful commando operations in world history, not just Israeli history. And indeed, when you research the raid, as I did, and wrote a book about it, I researched the units, my brother who commanded the unit's part at length. Indeed, it is a remarkable feat, no question about it.
And what happened to you? Tell us about what happened to your brother.
During the raid, well,
Yeah.
first of all, my brother, not only during the raid, but he oversaw the preparations of the unit for the raid. It was remarkable in the sense that it was prepared very, very hurriedly. The raid took place, or the force left Israel at noon on Saturday, July 3. And the actual preparations of the unit commenced only in the evening at around 10 p.m. on Thursday. So it was less than 48 hours of planning and preparations and rehearsals. And Yoni oversaw that together with his officers, but he also had to persuade the higher ups that it's possible. Both the chief of staff and the defense minister, Shimon Peres. He had a one-on-one meeting with Shimon Peres and explained to him that the raid will succeed. Of course, you have to understand that on the day where the preparations started, on Thursday, that very day, Thursday noon, the Israeli government decided officially to capitulate to the demands of the German and Arab terrorists who were holding the Israelis and other Jews hostage.
And what were they asking? What were they trying to get? What were those demands?
The demands were some 50 terrorists who were in prison both in Israel and in other countries in Europe and in Kenya, including notorious murderers such as the Japanese murderer Kozo Komoto and others. Those were the demands, and Israel, of course, did not want to give in to these demands, but it seemed like it had no choice. So on Thursday, 5 days after the hijacking of the plane, Israel finally decided that it had no choice because there was no plan. But remarkably, the plan could be formed because that very day, early in the morning, and even during the night before, the terrorists released the non-Israelis and kept some Jews also in Entebbe and also the Air France crew. But most of the hostages were released and flown to Paris, where finally some information could be garnered about what's happening in Entebbe, thus allowing a plan to be formed to allow a military operation to take place.
And it's fair to say that in this situation, Israel is one of the countries in the world that is willing to do something like this. Many other countries, I suspect, wouldn't do it. Is that fair to say? The reputation for Israeli security forces is that they are interventionist where they can be.
Well, they have to be because we have no choice. We're being all the time attacked by, or were certainly in the past, by all the Arab states, now only a part of the Arab states. In 1976, there was still no peace agreement with any of them. We're being attacked constantly, and we had no choice but to form a military that would strike at them and strike at those who want our destruction. And that's indeed what the Palestinian terrorists want, to wanted and still want the destruction of Israel itself and indeed as the state, the Jewish people. And so we have no choice but to be active. And Yoni felt that this was a necessary operation to try to motivate, and indeed succeeded in motivating his soldiers. And during the raid itself, as he ran forward, there was a lull, a halt in the raid. He ran forward, and as he was running forward, he was shot in the chest in the seconds, maybe 2 seconds before the actual break-in by the first soldier into the terminal building and the liquidation of the terrorists and the rescuing of the hostages.
Oh, we're very sorry to when you put it that way. You have another brother, of course, Binyamin Netanyahu, and Israel is yet again acting in an interventionist fashion. It's engaged in a military operation in the refugee camps of Jenin. There is some suspicion that your brother has his own legal problems to fight in Israel, and these type of military operations
I knew this would come. I knew this would come from you. You want to talk about the raid? You want to talk about something important that happened?
Well, we have just talked about. We have. I mean, we have just talked about that. We have just talked about that. I'm just interested in, there is something we talked about Israeli intervention.
This is ridiculous to be able to time it. This operation was planned for a long time now. Operation in Jenin against a terrorist hotbed, and there was a recent murder of of a woman and 2 children. Actually, 4, not only a woman, 4 Israelis who were eating in a restaurant. Murder by terrorists from Jenin, and other acts of the murder of Israelis almost on a daily basis. And Israel had to act. The fact that it acted here, you think it was actually orchestrated because of a certain timing in my brother's, as a political decision. How far can you go in besmirching the decisions of the Israeli politicians?
Well, lots of people have very much.
There's no depth to how deep you can go.
Well,
anyway,
I think the criticisms of your brother are well known. I've merely asked the question, and you've answered the question. I think that's.
And the idea is to talk about something positive, something else. And what's positive is what's happening now in Jenin. The fact that we're able to go into Jenin and act against the terrorists who are acting there, and whose only goal is the destruction of the Jewish state. Yeah. And the elimination and murder of the Jewish people. This is what they state. This is how they teach their children. This is their only goal. And this is what we are up against.
Okay. Well, listen, it's very good to speak to you, and you've made that case very, very clearly indeed. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's Iddo Netanyahu there, talking about what happened in 1976 and also what is happening now in Jenin.